and welcome to the Spooky Chris podcast. My name is Chris Ringler, the aforementioned Spooky Chris. This is my little weirdo podcast. I am a writer, filmmaker, artist, once upon a time movie reviewer, fan of the strange and terrible. And this is my little podcast. You can find all of my blogs, links to all of my video work and books and everything at my website, spookychris.com. And I thank you for stopping by. I've been podcasting for about a year and change now, so there's a couple episodes. If you find that you're interested, there's plenty to go back and look at. So as we are rounding mid-April in 2021, and COVID has been here for longer than a weekend guest, we've kind of had to adapt, all of us, to a new normal. A new normal none of us asked for, but kind of have just the same. And it's been interesting in the worst of ways to see how much of our society and ourselves have been revealed in these past months. Because if nothing else, the pandemic has offered us has offered us a very large mirror to look at ourselves in. It has been a horror for sure, and the secondary horror has been what has revealed of kind of who we are as a culture and a society. It's been sad to see all of the businesses go out that we have, with what I do for work. I have for sure seen a lot of that, and it's heartbreaking because beyond the numbers and rhetoric and teeth gnashing, these are people who had dreams, who put everything on the line to do it themselves. And we're a country that once upon a time really celebrated people that did that. We are a corporate culture anymore, and I get it. I mean, I'm part of that. I order from Amazon. I do all the online things because I just don't like fooling with people, and it's tiresome going to look for something and then going like, oh gosh, we don't carry that, but we'll order it for you. Well, shucks, I could have ordered it in the first place. So that's a pain in the neck. That's what we had to do when I was kids. When I was a kid, is that kind of a thing. We'll order it and we'll get it in X amount of time, and then you can have it. But it's sad to see all these businesses go under, because again, these are people beyond the business, and there are people that work for these people, and some of them, I mean, let's face it, some of these businesses were going to go anyways. They were poorly run, they were poorly managed. It was in a market that wasn't going to work. It was a business that wasn't going to work. I remember I worked at a vitamin store during the big heyday of low carb diets and Atkins diet and all that. And I remember all these little shops popping up that were low carb shops. And I remember there was one on my way to my folks' house, and I marveled because they turned it. I can't remember what it was before, but it was like a little low carb shop at like a storage unit place. And after about 6-8 months, it was the offices for that rental place for units and everything, because it wasn't a long-term strategy. People still do Atkins, but I don't really think we needed a soup to nuts Atkins store. It wasn't a long-term business venture, really. And there's a lot of businesses like that, and that stinks. And it just so happens that COVID was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in a way. On these businesses, and it's horrible, and it's unfortunate. And could these places have survived long enough to figure things out? We'll never know. But I mean, sure, there's probably a few that could have happened, where you get your footing and you figure something out. So there's a lot of those. Worse is to see kind of the entertainment complexes and movie theaters and music venues that there's nothing, like the music venues is the worst because there's nothing they can do. Generally, there's generally nothing they can do because they can't really. They could put on shows and broadcast them, but where's the money in it? You have to hope people will pay to stream it, but then it's like you have to, like everything else, you have to pay the band, you have to pay the people that are running the show, and this and that, and everything else. So by the time it's all done, is there enough money at the end to make it worth anyone's while? When that band could do the same thing from home, or from someone's home, and put on a show for free or to try to get money for themselves. So it's hard. And that's the worst part. And that we don't really have anything in place to help these businesses. There are to some degrees, but no one's ever planned for the catastrophic, and this is the catastrophic. And I get it because, personally, I don't plan for the catastrophic because it's hard to... One, as an individual, it's very hard to do that because it's just, I don't make enough money to do that, really, to pay my bills and to kind of have a big nest egg in case something catastrophic happens. So, I get it. It's a hard thing to plan for because it may never happen. That's why we have insurance and stuff. But it is horrifying and it's sad because we're seeing so much disappear. This has all been like watching land slide into the ocean slowly. We built all of these places near the edge, knowing that it could happen, but also knowing that it may never happen. We may live in that home our whole lives, and the beach never gives way. The cliff face never gives way. The bluff. Or something happens, catastrophe, and our house slides right into the ocean. And because all of this is so unprecedented, we're all figuring it out. The harder pill to swallow is to see that so much of this could have been avoided if a year ago we had a president that took this seriously, if we had an administration that took this seriously, if we didn't have the insanity in this country that politicizes everything and this willfulness and childishness of people that are so strongly held in their political and social beliefs that no one will tell them what to do and they don't believe anything except what they believe. So for months, it was it's nothing, it's a cold, it's a flu, as the numbers of dead rose, better blame China, it's China's fault. So we started blaming instead of dealing with this. So it took months and months to get vaccines in place, so that now we're finally getting people vaccinated, and as happens all the time, the virus is mutating. And it's crazy, and we're obsessed with what we've lost, and I get it. But we don't see the picture of we don't see who we've lost. The pro-life movement likes to say how that person you aborted could have been the next Einstein, the next genius, the next Mother Teresa, savior. And the opposition will say, "Oh well, it could have been Hitler." But what they don't see though is we're all here now. Let's worry about all of us that are here this moment. Let's safeguard all of us that are here instead of obsessing over the what ifs. Let's deal with they're ours. There are a lot of people here. Ipso facto, I matter. Ergo, you matter. I don't have to like you for you to matter, because someone else, you matter to them. You don't have to like me for me to matter, because I matter to someone else. Therefore, we're all in this together. Therefore, I can get it, so you can get it. None of us is immune to this. So we got to work together to get past it. This isn't a political issue. This isn't a social issue. This isn't a cultural, a religious issue. This is a figure your crap out and let's do what we got to do. We didn't have to lose this many people. We didn't have to lose these businesses. We didn't have to lose all of this time. We cry about, the children, they've lost proms and graduations and dances and sports, and it's so horrible. If we would have gotten our stuff in a group if we would have done what we had to do, if we would have sacrificed what we had to sacrifice at the time, instead of like, oh, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm still going to go on vacation. It's like my liberty is worth more. I mean, we're seeing that with guns. The gun culture is worth more to people than the lives. It's like there's not a problem with you owning a gun, owning some guns. The problem is that people want to have caches of guns, and guns that they can never shoot in the general day. And unfortunately, once in a while, those guns are stolen, or someone in that family essentially loses their mind, or someone who shouldn't have access to those guns goes and buys those guns and goes on a rampage. It's the same kind of a mentality where it's my freedom is worth more than anyone else's freedom. American freedom has become very self-centered and self-obsessed. And I mean, I'm sure it always was like that. Like we like to go like, well, back in the day, it was never like. Well, it's always been like that. I'm sure if we looked back at the dawning of the Constitution, like essentially all led from, well, I don't really want them to have power over me because I don't want them to tax me, and I don't want this and that. And people just work together because their personal goals and desires aligned with one another, so it made sense. So it's not like this is all new. It's just so depressingly self-centered now. To see, parents out without, with or without masks, like complaining and demanding their kids go back and play sports, while in Michigan, the state I'm in, the numbers are skyrocketing. And they're like, well, no, they're going to be safe. No one else in the state has been safe, and that has died, was ever safe. But my kid, a teenager, who probably thinks they're going to live forever, is going to be safe. And the problem too is that their parents, the kids. I don't blame kids, because kids inherit everything from their parents to a point until they can kind of make their own opinions. And it's just so upsetting, because it didn't have to be this way. If we weren't so willfully selfish, where it's like we just won't listen to anyone if they don't align to what our beliefs are or say what we want to hear, it's all fake. And again, like it comes down to a lot of it's Trump. Trump was the worst case scenario, the worst American you could ever have imagined. And he is so American because he is everything that was ugly in us and that is ugly in us, and he just amplified all of it. And it's weird because he connected with so many people because, he just said it like it is. No, he said it like the off uncle at a holiday party that just says it like it is, because they don't have a filter, and because they're so old they don't care, and because there's something broken in them to make them think that their opinion matters more than anyone else's. And it was him kind of decrying the virus and blowing it off, and then even when he had it, kind of acting like, I had it. It's no big deal, because he got treatment no one else but him could get. And it's sad. It's sad because we have seen so much ugliness and so much anger. People like trying to get into our state capital, they did, but trying to harm people, threatening our governor and our leadership here in Michigan over mask mandates. And now they want to blame our governor because the numbers aren't going down, while they go on trips to Florida, while they go on vacations, while they go out of state, while they go and hang out with their friends and their family, and they do what they want to do and say, we're outside, we're not going to catch it. It's crazy because we want to pretend that we're smarter than a virus. We want to pretend that we can dodge it somehow. Like that it chooses its victims, as it's like, if you didn't live a good life, it's going to get you. I've seen how churches are starting to demand that people go back to church, when faith has always been in the heart. Belief is in the heart. How you worship is personal to you. And yes, the church is an important part of all of that, and the church guides it and this and that, and I get it. But it's just crazy because this sounds to me like it's based on money. Like it's like, we need those tithes. We need your butts in seats. And I think part of it, too, is a fear that people are just going to kind of fall out of religion. But, I mean, faith doesn't go that quickly. Just like I never liked the stupid, I had a philosophy of religion class, and the professor liked to say, there's no atheist in a foxhole. I'm like, but faith found in that kind of a circumstance, when it's to kind of stave off the worst, you're just putting money on every color. You're just trying to hedge your bets a little. It's not real faith. It's temporary faith. And it's sad because faith is part of all of this. We don't have faith in one another, and we don't have faith in our voices of reason anymore. All of that's been eroded to such a degree. And many of us have played a part in it. We post memes and we post like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And I get it. Like, it's funny sometimes, like, oh, I got my Fauci ouchie. But all of that kind of like takes away the fact that this is a man, Fauci, Dr. Fauci, is a man who has sacrificed a lot and has put his reputation on the line to try to help us. And we still aren't listening, and now it's we kind of like, and again, there's nothing harmful out of like saying, oh, it's Fauci ouchie, but it almost diminishes what he's saying in this whole thing. Like, no, we have to get vaccinated. It's not, we laugh when we want to cry sometimes. So again, I don't say this with a like clucking of the tongue and the pointing of the finger. But it is one of the things that we just, in our language and what we do, we kind of diminish the power of things, like where this virus has taken 3 million people across the world. It has taken 500,000 people in America. There's not a lot funny about it. And that we don't take it as seriously as we should, and that we keep pretending that we can go back to normal, and that like, well, I'm going to live my life, and I want to go on vacation. It's like, we forget, and I mentioned before, what drives me mad is that we hold up World War II, the Great Generation and stuff, and what they did, and they're so great, and this and that, but we don't want to look at what the sacrifice cost them. That like it wasn't easy rationing gas and like all of the metals that they had to donate, and that the women entered the workforce who hadn't entered a workforce before. That all of these young men and women went off to war to never return. Like, there was sacrifice. And us, it's just stay home. Don't like wear a mask. Don't be selfish. It's crazy. And it's crazy too because like the simplest things have been revealed. Like, gosh, it has been it's been startling how bad takeout service has been from restaurants, which is the silliest and pettiest thing ever. But it's weird because you'd think if restaurants have something down, it's that. It's the most passive thing. It's like, hey, we're just making the food we make. We're getting business, and we don't have to deal with people. Like, we don't have dummies coming and, like, hanging out and taking up space and causing a ruckus. They're just ordering, they're picking up, and they're leaving. It's a perfect scenario. Now, you don't keep as many people hired. And I get that, and that's not good. We don't want this to be the only business model, but it's weird that they can't get it right because so much of the food that my wife and I have gotten takeout has been just not great. And it's weird. And there's a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's like, some businesses have adapted. Some of them have been like, oh no, curbside service, we can mail it to you, we can do whatever. Like, they're adapting. And that's what we should have been trying to do, is to adapt. Like, this isn't ideal, this sucks, but let's adapt. And we should have been doing that until we can get back to a new normal and kind of go back to what we were almost. But it's just funny. It's just funny and weird that people just can't get the simple stuff straight, and they don't want to, and of like it's businesses are suffering. Like I feel for restaurants, but if you can't get something that's simple, taken care of, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know what to say. It's strange. This whole time has been strange and sad because we're all better than this. And for a nation and a culture that has sent people into space, has done the things that we've done, it's a bad look. Socially we're so backward right now, our priorities, that we worry more about whether kids can go to a prom more than like whether kids are going to have parents at home, or families can pay for the a meal. It's been sad. It's been sad because we are seeing a lot of our true faces, and it's not a good look. There's a lot of us that are doing what we need to do, that are doing the right thing, that are making sacrifices we have to make, because there's got to be something after this. I may miss out on a lot, but I have a daughter to look out for now, and I want the world to be here for her. I want things to be better for her. And I would like to think we'd all think that way, because we're only here temporarily, and we're just keeping the lights on for the next folks that come, and we're not doing a good job of that. And it's sad, the mental health issues, everything that we're seeing as secondary effects of the virus. We should have, as a nation, had better things in place to help people with all of this, but we didn't. So we're trying to work on the run. But culturally, we don't respect that. We think that it's weakness. We think if you cry and you're a man, you're weak. If you're scared and you're a man, you're weak. It's just weird. We still have issues with women having ownership of their own bodies and their own choices. We still kind of go like, well, maybe she asked for it. We have so far to go. And like I say, the virus, has nothing else, has shown us how far we still have yet to go, which is a lot further than I think any of us would like. But we just got to keep keeping on and hope for the best, and eventually I'm hoping we get where we got to be. Friend, I hope you are safe. I hope you're well. I hope you're happy. I hope what you have lost is not as much as others have lost, and I hope better days are ahead. I will talk to you soon. You take care.